Good afternoon. Thank you all for attending our session today entitled How to Maximize Harmony Without Compromising Individual Core Beliefs. My name is Patricia Papadopoulos from PayPal, and with me today is a fantastic panel, which is a cross-functional and cross-faith cohort, also from PayPal. And we are delighted to share with you some insights from our Faith in the Workplace journey at PayPal. I'll start the introductions. I was brought up Catholic, and I am now on the road to Orthodox Christianity, and I serve as the product advocate leading the transformation efforts on the Legal Agreements Working Group. And for the next 2 years, I'm honored to also serve the Believe Interfaith Employee Resource Group as the Growth Chairperson. I'm based out of the San Jose, California headquarters. So let's move on to introduce Deep next. Deep?
Hey guys, this is Deep Singh Dhillon. I'm from Sikh Faith, working as a program manager within the GB org, and I'm from the San Jose office.
And next up we have Gulrez.
Hey folks, I'm Gulrez Khan. I am a practicing Muslim, and over here at PayPal, I work as a senior data scientist, trying to look for insights to reduce the customer friction, and happy to work here with Believe and at PayPal.
Hey, my name is Bhavna Saxena. I am a practicing Hindu. I am an engineering manager in the Branded Experiences org, leading a team of engineers that work on the services side. I am based out of San Jose, and I have been at PayPal for about 11 years now, and I am enjoying my stay here and also working with Believe and all of you guys. I'm glad to be here today.
Hi, I'm Claudia Ibrude. I grew up with a backdrop of Christianity and agnosticism, and then I chose Christianity in university. I'm the Learning Technology Business Partner overseeing learning technologies and infrastructure for the Global Customer Operations Organization here at PayPal. I've been part of the Believe Steering Committee from when it started, and I currently hold place as Ireland Lead. I'm based out of the Dublin, Ireland office.
I am Yolanda Burris. I'm a practicing Christian. I am the lead of all of the employee resource groups at PayPal. So that's the work that I do. So diversity and inclusion, equity and belonging are the key factors here that we focus on here at PayPal. And I am based out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Before we get to our questions, I do want to thank Brian Grimm for assembling such a wonderful fellowship of presenters at this conference and inviting us to participate. And I'd also like to thank our PayPal CEO, Dan Schulman, our executive leadership, our Believe ERG executive champion, who is Tracy Brown. We also have executive sponsors for the ERG, Mark Molnar and Gabash Singh. We have co-leads for our ERG, Believe, Becky Pomerleau and Nitu Dhaliwal, and our fellow SteerCo colleagues. The diversity, inclusion, and equity team and our leadership, thank you for supporting our work, which is such a vital resource at the company. So let's get started. So our first question is, without sharing confidential details, have you felt or observed faith-related microaggressions at work? And if so, please describe it and explain how you handled it. So I'm going to send this question over to all of you, but Claudia, would you like to start us off?
So I don't generally advertise my faith at work, and I don't think anybody would know if I didn't say it. Sometimes people make derogatory remarks about Christians, in mixed company, thinking that everybody there is not a practicing Christian. And when that happens, I'd express my disagreement. Living in Ireland is a country where people have a complicated relationship with the church, particularly the Catholic Church, even though majority of people would identify as Christian. So because most are non-practicing, when people know you're a practicing Christian, you can end up in a position where you have to defend your faith and mostly reassure people that your judgment is not somehow impaired because you're a person of faith or a practicing Christian. I try to hear what they're saying usually, and if they're open with it, share my perspective as a human and as a Christian. And if they're not, well, we live another day, right?
Sure. Thank you, Claudia, for sharing your opinion. I think it's sad to hear if someone faces these faith-related microaggressions. And when I think of it, I think it has it has been quite common for me that I've seen that. Having spent very little time at PayPal, I have a few examples which I can share at some other places prior to PayPal where I have worked. And few examples is maybe watching a sports event with the colleagues and someone starts shouting slurs against my community. Um, Another occasion, a colleague trying to be funny and trying to pour alcohol in my glass. For me, like I'm a Muslim, practicing Muslim, so I don't take alcohol. Some terrorist activity in some part of the world happen, and someone reaches out and say, "Do you condemn this?" Of course, I do. Uh, my wife, like she wears this hijab covering her head, and her colleague would ask and say that, "Hey, why don't you throw that thing on top of your head? You are in a free country now. You're in the United States," and that is very sad. And in terms of responses, like the responses have varied. The responses, if I think of it, sometimes it would be staying silent, smiling, walking away, trying to educate if there is a forum, there are listening ears. But most of the time, as a minority, you would tend to suffer in silence. Uh, at PayPal, I haven't seen such things, and I'm happy that there is a forum like Believe, where I can come as a Muslim, practicing Muslim, and I see other faiths, people practicing other religion. They talk about it, and we are working towards it. There is an effort towards inclusion which is going on. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I hope like there are few other things that we are doing as part of creating allyship courses, talking about educating more about Islam, Muslims, and I'm confident these things would help in the future.
What a great segue to Yolanda.
It's so disheartening to hear the things that you have experienced, and but I can honestly say that I have not experienced any of those at work or even outside of work. I mean, at PayPal and the companies I've worked at in the past, I've just never had anyone say anything negative to me about my faith or my beliefs. But that could be attributed to the fact that I do diversity and inclusion. So, you know, I cannot answer as to why, but I don't hide my faith. I mean, I even wear my religion proudly on my clothing. And so if you're in a meeting with me, I probably have on a shirt that says I'm blessed or whatever the case may be, or I may wear a crucifix. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day. But even as a matter of fact, for example, the people who know of my love of my faith, you know, when the pandemic first began, they came to me to ask me to pray for them or to pray with them or even just talk to them about, you know, the pandemic and if it was a sign from God or, it, you know, as if I could answer those questions. I cannot answer those questions, but the fact that they felt comfortable enough to come to me. You know, some people don't feel comfortable expressing their faith, but they do feel comfortable coming to someone who does. So I probably would not have engaged with some of those people had it not been for their concerns or their fears about the pandemic. But my doors are always open. So if anyone has a need or if anyone has a concern, I am always available. But I always try my best to lead with my heart and with my faith.
Yeah, I'm hearing this perspective. I think that's one of the reasons I really love being part of Believe, you know, knowing all of these things, which we really don't think about. Hinduism is a plural, very diverse religion, and very less understanding is there, especially in America, because it's a minority religion. But I, at PayPal, have not, again, you know, faced any major, you know, aggression, microaggression. I do see, though, incidents where my faith is stereotyped because of one incident. Oh yeah, if that happened, that means every Hindu is like that, which is, you know, which can happen to any faith, any group of people, any worldview. And so my goal as a person of faith and as a human is to just talk, right? When I hear that, I can just educate and then say that, hey, just because this incident happened, you cannot stereotype my faith, as you cannot, if such an incident happens with another faith person, it's not right to do that. And such type of conversations have really helped. And I appreciate that, I have observed a conscious effort from most of the PayPalians to be inclusive, which I enjoy.
Yes, just like a few of my colleagues shared, right? I have gone through that experience as well some time back. So sometimes people, they don't say something to you, right? But you can easily sense it, right? During the conversation or from your experience, right? Working with or talking to someone. So with me, it happened a few years back. I went for an interview for a pretty renowned firm. During the interview process, one of the guys, he was more focused on my articles of faith. I used to wear turban at the time. And he was asking more questions about turban. Some of the conversation, I felt like I felt taunted, right? A few times. I felt like avoiding it is not the right approach, right? And I thought of like expressing myself in a different way. So, of course, confrontation is not a good way of expressing yourself. So once you're done with the conversation, right, you get into the last part where they ask you, okay, do you have any questions for me? So that is when I thought, okay, maybe I should ask him, right? I asked his willingness to clarify, right? What was his intent behind that? I think asking in that way, like he opened it up, right? He started asking me some questions out of curiosity. I shared with him my story. A little bit more like where I come from, right? What is my culture? What is it that I do? What my faith, my culture teaches me, and all those things. I was pretty comfortable. Even the conversation got into a phase where I shared a few of my pictures as well. I think it all ended the conversation in a much better way. And the world is so small. I used to work for a consulting firm, and I met him a few times actually at one of our common clients as well. So I felt like asking him, reacting with patience probably, right, rather than like let it go or responding immediately, I guess, and giving him a chance to kind of clarify his intent. I think that really helped with the situation.
And I think this next question is perfect for you, Yolanda. And the question is, how has PayPal offered to help support interfaith harmony?
I would say by the existence of having faith-based religious ERGs. Most organizations in corporate America, they steer clear of even touching a faith-based ERG since they don't know how to manage them. This is very sensitive, right? Because you have so many different religions, so many different beliefs. And there's a lot of cultural unintelligence out there, right? So it takes real courage for an organization to step into the religion at work aspect. It isn't easy because it's the unknown. So some organizations put each religion in a silo, but that stops the learning about the different viewpoints, the beautiful viewpoints that we all have. So we are understanding and respecting, and we respect differences here, and that is what's so important. And that's what I want to have continue here at PayPal. And I want to see it permeate outside of PayPal.
And our next question explores the recent seemingly divisive times we've been having. And the question is, how has PayPal's actions created an environment of authenticity and respect?
I have joined PayPal a year ago, but what Yolanda has mentioned earlier, I see a commitment. I have been really impressed by something like faith-based ERG, which I haven't seen in my prior companies available. And the thing that people can talk about it is something which makes it very, very good, right? So people can talk about it. And there are these safe space conversations which have already also been started, which are led by trained professionals, where you can talk about what you are feeling and have a conversation with different viewpoints and express yourself. The leadership also not advertising, but maybe it's sounding like that. But I think I've been impressed by the leadership that they come out, like if something like an incident or something happens, they talk about it and say like this is what it is, and I think that has been helpful for me as an employee.
Yeah, I can go next. I think I'm a long-term PayPalian, and I have always, like even before creation of these ERGs, sensed a commitment, as Gulrez mentioned, to inclusion. And in that respect, I would like to mention a recent incident that happened when Venmo was preparing some online stickers for their app to publish around the holiday time, and they reached out to the Believe community and asked for feedback. And they wanted to make sure, that they are not unintentionally misrepresenting something of a faith they may not understand. And I was so glad to just see that was very inclusive, right? I was able to work with the team and provide my feedback. Which they took and they implemented, and they actually circled back with me and confirmed again, which was very positive experience. And in contrast to other maybe social media platforms where this happens but they miss out on things, and we notice that, oh, my representation is not there. But Venmo actually did that, and I was very proud of this. That was a very positive experience, and I think speaks volumes about PayPal's commitment towards D&I. Then, of course, the ERGs, as Yolanda mentioned, we have Rise, Unity, Amplify, Believe. They promote a lot of positivity around following one's faith and bringing that to work and educating others about those. And then, as Gulrez mentioned, chats and talks related to an event that may have happened to provide safe spaces for those challenging conversations. And then there are various events that have happened and continue to happen via these ERGs. I see that there's Amplify has some, Black Month events going on right now. And they generate a lot of positivity, comfort for PayPalians during these already difficult times. And as I said, even before creation of these ERGs, in the way of celebrating festivals or organizing those events like Diwali or Chinese New Year, and even Kids to Work or any such event, I've always seen that notion of, hey, how can we bring things together? How can we, interfaith? How can we make it interfaith and not just focus on one when we are celebrating one particular festival? And I think these are great things, and I'm really proud that PayPal is doing all of that.
I am too. Thanks to you both. And although neither of you had said the word harmony in particular, the examples you gave highlight how the company culture is supportive of our own harmony in and outside the company. So moving on to our next question is, have you encountered situations where the core beliefs of another ERG conflict with the core beliefs widely held by members of Believe or your faith? And how did you handle it?
So I'll handle it from my faith perspective, being Christian. I think the ERGs are really about representation, respect, and support, right? We're all deserving of those, regardless of our belief or non-belief. There have been perceptions of conflict, and when this happens, it's important to have that dialogue from the place of mutual respect. I think the decision to practice a faith or not is deeply personal. Your faith or worldview gives you a compass to navigate the world around you, but it's also your responsibility to respect that others have the same rights as you do to decide their own path and live their truth. So even if you feel that there's a conflict, you can own your space and let them own theirs. And really, when it comes to belief, that's the space belief provides.
Like, I think there are more things which brings us together than that would lead us apart. Like even in this panel, if you look into who we all look different, right? We all belong to different faiths, but yet we are in this together. We are working in these ERGs, in this Believe, and these different groups together. So I think that is a very positive thing. And with regards to conflict, I haven't seen anything of that as of now. But even if in the future something like that happens, I would think like sticking core to our Believe group. I mean, the faith that we are practicing, like it guides us to be the best human being that you can be. How can you be to the service of others, right? So I think that would help us, and that way I think we would be able to resolve things. So I'm very confident that we will do good things together.
And I'm focused on the three words that you mentioned, or the two words that you mentioned, compass and guidance. and these words lead to respect, which goes hand in hand with our main theme, which is harmony. So there's a lot of connections there. And this leads us to our next question, which is, within Believe, the ERG, how are worldviews that differ from those of the major world religions included? So this is an interesting topic. Maybe Claudia, we'd love to hear your perspective from outside the US. And Yolanda, what are you seeing from the DIEB perspective?
I believe ERG is community driven. This means that the worldviews and religions represented are those of employees who have expressed an interest in being represented. If there's a worldview that falls outside of the 4 major religions, or I don't know it. And at the end of the day, Believe is about creating an environment that allows employees to be themselves and equips them to be aware that other worldviews exist, as has been mentioned previously about learning about others and all that, and that they should respect them and not be blinded by theirs. It's even more important when we think about what we have in the workplace today, the workplace being in people's homes, where we're seeing the books on their shelves, the cross on the wall, and the decor in their living spaces. And we're generally being more human as colleagues than ever before.
So my take on it is, having an interfaith ERG is just absolutely fantastic because it gives everyone an opportunity to learn about each other. You can also understand one another, and that ultimately leads to respecting one another. So, PayPal also includes worldviews in the Believe ERGs. I worked for a faith-based healthcare company, phenomenal organization. The leadership supported the environment of inclusion. But even though this was the mindset, and just because it was faith-based doesn't mean that there isn't a need for a faith-based ERG. So, and they didn't have one. So I was pleasantly surprised when I came to PayPal to see that there was a faith-based ERG. So PayPal's ERGs allow us to learn how other people build a relationship with who or what they worship, or don't, when the worldview doesn't, include God or a creator. So valuing people's differences, that's what Believe stands for. And so for the God I serve, the number one priority for me is to love him. And then secondly, to love others as I love him. So mutual respect is key. Learning how to do this is what Believe is all about. And so that's why I strongly encourage all of our employees, whether you have a strong faith or whether you just are curious, come and join this ERG.
At least we come to our last question. Time is flying. And this question is, how have you become an ally to others with differing world views, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, thank you. I think I truly believe that it is in our self-interest to be allies, right? Because in the long run, we are all connected. Our struggles are tied to everybody else's. Anything happens and I connect with a friend, at the end of the day, we are worried about our children's safety, right? I don't want to entertain any negativity because that can impact our future generations. And so, I think it's very important. And then for my faith specifically, it promotes pluralism, multiple forms of the supreme power. And I've grown up seeing different faiths right in my single house. My mom and my dad would worship different deities, and the way they would do it is they would stand together and then do it one after the other. And then my father-in-law followed different philosophy. My mother-in-law followed the contradictory philosophy, but they both were like and they were, of course, the environment was very positive, and both of them exercised what they wanted to. So I think based on that experience, I have realized that it's beautiful. It's very important to become an ally, is to understand and learn about the specific worldview. So in my house, when I know, okay, why my father-in-law is doing that or why my mother-in-law is doing that, I kind of had that respect, and then I need to provide that space. So I think that's my key, that first of all, understand and learn. And to that effect, I really try to attend various webinars, information sessions that happen, like even Believe does a lot of those. And then I support a lot of varied social justice causes like Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ community, Native Americans. My family actually has a social literati club, and I participate in that. And then I take personal responsibility. I think we are here for a purpose, and I really think that it's my responsibility. If any negative conversation is happening or any misconception is brewing up, I take it personally to educate, talk about it, if I know about that faith, be it whatever, be it my faith or not. If I know, because being in India, we know a lot of other faiths also. We have grown up among different faiths. So I try to educate. And then, being a part of Believe, I'm planning to do more of it because I see I'll get a lot of opportunities to learn how to be stronger allies.
So yeah, Patricia, just like as you said, right? So I think I would take it as a two-step process for sure. First one, I think it includes awareness. So you can start by becoming aware of your own culture, right, or your own religion. I think that's a very important. If you're comfortable talking about your own culture, then you will become better at listening to other talk about theirs, right? Or if you understand how discrimination has affected you, then you may be more aware of how it affects others, right? So that's the first step. Second is more about once you are done with the awareness, once you know where you're coming from, right? Then I think it's more like an effort that you need to make. You need to start building relationship with people from other faiths. I think that's very important, right? So a few things what you can do for some of those steps that you can take is first like I would say like make it a conscious decision to establish friendship with people from other cultures. For this, I mean, you need to make some effort from yourself, right? You can join a sports team. You can become active in some sort of an organization, choose a job, or move to a neighborhood that puts you in a contact with people of different cultures. Also, you may want to take a few minutes to notice the diversity that is present like nearby, right? And you interact on a daily basis. I think then it's more of an awareness that comes into you, right? You get to know the different culture differences that exist around you. Second, put yourself in situations where you will meet people of other cultures. Go to churches, right? I think that's very easy actually to do that, right? Go to meetings, join festivals. Celebrations of groups whose members you want to get to know, right? Or hang out in a restaurant. I think these things will really help you. You may feel embarrassed right in the beginning. I mean, believe me, it happens with everyone. You feel shy right in the beginning, but believe me, I mean, your efforts will pay it off. And if it's difficult for you to go by yourself, you can bring a buddy, I guess, with you, right? Take someone from that culture, from that faith. I think that will make the things really easy. Third, examine your bias. There's a lot of misinformation that exists in this world, right? So especially when we're young, the way we're brought up, sometimes we acquire this information in bits and pieces, either through TVs or social medias. We have to become more aware of this information that exists, right? Then ask people questions about their cultures. I mean, people will want to be asked questions about how they live, what their culture is, right? I mean, the effort should be sincere. You should be asking it seriously and sincerely, but people will tell you a lot for sure. Then read about other people's cultures and histories. Don't forget to care and show care. And caring is a key, I guess, over here. It's easy to forget that bias, that the basis of any religion is caring, right? Everyone wants to be cared and to care as well, right? Caring about people is what makes a relationship real. So don't let your awkwardness around cultural differences get in the way of caring about people. Listen to people's stories. As I said in my earlier question, right? Share something about you, right? That's a great way of learning about people. Listening to people's stories, we can get a fuller picture of what people lives are like, right? I mean, their feelings, how they feel, what is their culture, what is the richness of their lives. Then risk making mistakes. You'll probably make a lot of mistakes at some point, right? It happens. It's very natural. So don't let that fear of making mistakes keep you from going ahead of building relationship. Ask the people, right? I mean, if someone is impacted, if someone is bothered or offended, just apologize. I mean, if it's a sincere apology, I think there's nothing that you're losing, right? But keep on building that relationship. And finally, learn to be an ally. I guess that's another key. So demonstrate, right, that you're willing to take a stand against discrimination when it occurs. People will be much more motivated to get to know if they see that you're willing to take risks on their behalf.
I had my pen ready. I have a list. Thank you so much, Bhavna. Thank you so much for your insights as well. We definitely saved the best for last. Such great advice, and it will definitely lead to harmony without compromising your core beliefs, which is our theme for today. So I wanted to thank our panel for taking the time to prepare and present today, and thank you RFBF for the opportunity, and thank you all in the audience for listening. We hope that our dialogue has provoked some thought, and wish you all the best as you find your way to bring faith and harmony to your workplaces, and we continue the discussion.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.